Let's start by looking at some online coverage. And here, this is the Daily Mail. When it was covering the hockey story, it really did opt for the drama and human interest first, hitting on hockey's family reaction to allegations, his father's tears, his daughter's doubt, in the headline. And herein lies the story's main clickbait potential. These quotes are probably about as sensational as the story's going to get, so it's been exploited to attract an audience. Structurally, this is typical of an online coverage. After the headline, the story highlights are summarized in a number of bullet points, and this is reflective of the reading habits of online audiences who may be time poor and tend to skim read for facts. This site, as we scroll down, you'll see favours the pictorial over the written. There's 7 pictures in this story, and you even have the option of viewing it as a gallery if you wish. For the most part, the pictures are pretty stock standard, hockey coming to court, hockey leaving court. But the ones where he is pictured with his family, they tend to hit on the same note as the headline and emphasize the human drama. This approach makes sense when you look at the links that are surrounding this story. This site's primary subject matter is celebrity gossip and lifestyle news. Clickbait headlines are used to draw traffic, with some obvious examples here, including links like, well, not on this occasion, but when I last accessed it, 20 celebs who married ugly people, or the 4-second rule that could change your life. Probably more than any other platform, online news is shaped by interaction with the audience. Here, for example, once we scroll down to the bottom, there is a comment section. Although it hasn't really drawn much of a response. Again, the audience for this site is probably not particularly concerned with the Hockey Fairfax case, and so it might not have engaged them in the same way that an article about ugly celebrity spouses did. Also, on the topic of engaging readers, and if we head back to the start of the page, you'll see there's plenty of opportunities to share this piece on social media. What I think is missing from this article, though, is some sort of inclusion of social media's reaction to the hockey case. Having a Twitter feed, for instance, might have been a way to better engage the interest of their readership. So by looking at this site's focus, celebrity, it's clear that the news value that drove them to cover the story here is prominence. Joe Hockey is famous, therefore the story deserves attention. It's also a story driven by conflict, with 2 clearly delineated high-profile parties contesting the court case. So whether or not a site like this would sustain its coverage over a long period of time is questionable, in fact, is probably doubtful. Once the histrionics have played out, then so too might the sensational value of the story. But this article is not wholly representative of the online reporting of Hockey versus Fairfax. So if we take a quick glimpse at another news provider, The Guardian, it shows us some different approaches to the same story. The piece Joe Hockey tells court that Fairfax had run a relentless campaign against him, pictured here, is much more text focused. So what you can see is the cleaner, wider layout of The Guardian actually drawing your eye to the text. And the links that you can see around it are, for the most part, politically orientated, particularly the links which we'll see listed below. Here, there's plenty of chances to explore other stories about this case and about hockey more generally. So that's going to give the reader some useful context for the current story, and I think probably works as an effective way of keeping readers on the Guardian site. This is also a more even-handed approach. The headline is far less emotional than that of the Daily Mail example, and instead it just focuses on the allegations that have been made. In fact, the family's reaction to the accusations don't even rate a mention here, and they might have been picked up by another Guardian story or perhaps judged unworthy of publication altogether. Either way, the relativity of this story is greater here than in the Daily Mail example. It would, and it did, have greater currency here. Their audience, the Guardian's audience, is far more engaged in this. And we can see that via the amount of comments entered. They're much higher than in the case of the Daily Mail. Now, the absence of video here is probably a weakness of the Guardian coverage. Uh, it may well have been judged unnecessary considering the limited audiovisual material that would have been available from a courtroom, but nevertheless, the Daily Mail site did embed a video into its story, and we can see that here. It is a video actually from the National 9 News Bulletin from the evening of this piece, and this is a cross-platform cooperation, I guess, that has occurred since 2013 when Nine Entertainment signed a deal with the Daily Mail to bring some content to its pages.